Good morning, everybody. MG here, MGCovers, bringing you a brand new sports handicapping video. Title of this video is Understanding the Numbers Part 2. We made a video a couple weeks ago, Understanding the Numbers, and used a few examples. This is going to be Part 2. We're going to use another soccer example as well. Before we do that, dive into the video. As always, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, greatly appreciate you subscribing to the channel. A ton of content on this channel for free if you want to learn the sports handicapping business. Football season's coming up. Got a lot of playlists on NFL, building models for NFL as well as college football. If you want to follow me on social media, MGCovers, cover spelled with the Z, put out a ton of content there as well, and that same screen name on Twitter. All right, let's dive into this video. And the premise of this, understanding the numbers, I've talked about this in part 1. I'll link that at the end of this video so you can watch part 1 as well. Is that if you're wagering on soccer, NFL, NHL, whatever the sport is, you have to understand the numbers. And more specifically, you have to know the statistical properties of that sport in order to make a profit. It's the same deal in real estate. Let's say if you want to buy an apartment complex or a mobile home park, just buying an apartment complex doesn't mean you're going to be profitable. You have to know the cap rate. You have to know the income. You have to know everything about it. Is it a new apartment complex? So you don't have to pay any expenses for maintenance, or is it a complex that's 30 years old? You might be replacing a lot of HVAC units. So same deal in sports handicapping. You have to know the statistical properties of that sport, and we're going to give you a really good example here today. So what we're going to talk about is soccer draws. Now this is sort of 2 points to make. If you're not familiar with soccer, it's still a good educational video and something important to learn. So there's 3 sides in soccer. We have the home side, which you see here. In this particular example, this team is plus 141. The draw line is plus 199, and the away side is 227. So the first part, understanding the numbers, there's 3 possibilities in soccer. So each side, statistically speaking, has a 33% chance of hitting. Okay. Now, a typical draw, you'll see a draw, around 250, sometimes higher than that. Now, if you see a draw line of 199, 147, 192, these are very low draw numbers. And what this means, and what a lot of people perceive this to be, is they think, okay, this draw has a high percentage chance of hitting or cashing because that number is extremely low, plus 199, plus 147. But you can see these are actual final results from yesterday. None of those draws cash. So the first point to make in understanding the numbers, what looks to be a good play, more times than not, is not. Another example, we've talked about this, or give you 2 examples. When you see what we call a public team where 70% of the tickets are on one team and that line's moving in that direction, what happens majority of the time? That team loses. Okay. And it's the same in soccer with regards to draw. What looks like a quote good draw play, because that draw number is extremely low, a lot of people perceive that as, okay, that's a low draw number. The books are anticipating that draw number to hit. That's why it's so low. Well, guess what happens? More times than not, it doesn't hit. Now, let's look at sort of, this is part 2 of that. Hypothetically, let's say it does hit, right? Let's say the 199 plus 147, 192. Let's use plus 190 as a number to focus on. And what I mean by that, let's say we tried to hit these draws at 190, and we were able to cash 30% of these at plus 190. Okay. So we'll pull up a Google spreadsheet to look at. So let's use, so we can make the math work on this, let's use 30 matches. So we wagered 30 matches in soccer, and we were able to hit 30% of those. So we're able to hit 9 draws, and we had 21 losses, right? So that totals 30. So we're able to hit 30% draws, and let's say we averaged 190. That was our line, plus 190. So what we do is we're going to add, let's see, equals this number times this number. So what we profited, let's just use $100. So we're wagering $100 per game. We're able to cash a total of 1710. So 9 draws times 190 line that we average 1710. So what were our losses? Well, we take 100 because on a loss on a draw line it would be 100. So we take the 21. That's already going to add us up for us. And we end up losing $2,100. So that's a loss of, let's see. Whoops, mess that up here. This is going to equal this minus this. So minus 390. So we are in the hole 390, even though we hit 30% of the draws. Well, why is that? Well, very simple, because of wagering such a low number at plus 190. So let's pull up. This is what we call a Moneyline Conversion chart. So we see here plus 190. If you convert that into a line, a percentage chance of winning is 34%. So what this means, the break-even point, in order to just break even, averaging plus 190 money line, we have to cash at 34%. And you can see in the example listed here, it was only, what's that, 30, it's less than that. So we end up losing minus 390. Okay. So let's say hypothetically, let's just change this. We're going to keep that same number. We already know this is 2,100. Let's say we set the criteria to we're only going to play draws that are plus 250 or greater. And your immediate thought would be, well, if we're going to play draws at 250, we're not going to cash that many draws because that number's so high. Keep that point in your head. I'm going to cover that in just a second. So if we average 250 and we're able to hit the same amount, roughly 30%, 33% draws, we take now 250 times 9, is that right? 2250, and still there's the amount that we lost, 2,100. So we're able to now, look what happens. Now it's profitable. Okay. So big difference, right? So what I want to do is go back and look at and show you something else. So what you were saying is, well, these 250 draws are probably not going to cash. And that's what we would think, right? Because going back to our example here, this seems more likely it would cash because that number is so low. But in reality, over here, draws do cash over 250. So what I do, and this is a really solid tip if you're going to get into the draw game with soccer, I only wager draw lines that are 250 or greater, right? So that when I do cash one, I'm able to put myself in a better position to profit long term. So we go back and look at, let me show you, this is my betting log here. So let's take a look at some of these from the last couple weeks, and we just started back into soccer. Look at this. Draw line, plus 248, that wins. Plus 255, that wins. 275 draw that cashed. There was another one. Look at that one. 270, that won. This 215 line moved against me, and look what happened when I played it. It actually lost. Scroll down here. Okay, there's a 245 that lost. 250 cashed. So those are basically my draw plays from the last couple weeks. So going back to this example and what we think. So what you think would work, these low draw numbers actually don't. And if you're trying to hit these low draw numbers, it's virtually impossible to turn a profit that way. So the first point is you want to play draw lines 250 or greater. Now let's go back to this money line here. So if I'm averaging 250 or greater, look what happens. My break even point is 28.6. right? So that means if I hit 28% draws, I'm going to break even. If I hit 30%, we're going to turn a profit, right? And you can see by this example here. So again, very important to understand the numbers in sports betting. And another benefit of increasing that, playing these really draw numbers of 250 or greater, you can take a look at the last couple of weeks since we started wagering. Look at that ROI. That's a 70% ROI the last 7 days. Last 14 days, 51% ROI. So by playing these huge draw numbers of 250 or greater, you can hit right at 30% and profit, and your ROI is going to be very, very high, which is what we're looking for in this business. So that wraps it up. Hope that helps. If you want access to my power rankings, we have power rankings now for soccer for 12 different leagues. Also have lines for Major League Baseball. We'll have football season just around the corner. You can get access for $49.95 per month, and that includes all of my coaching videos as well. If you want access to all of my soccer draw plays in addition to Major League Baseball, that's $99 per month. And if you want to join for an entire year, that's $4.99. You save about $600 by doing that. You get access to everything on the site for $500. Really solid deal. Like this video if it brought you some value, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.